The Wood Whisperer is sponsored by Type Bond.
So good news, my friends, the firehouse is ours. We closed on it this morning, and now I'm in that mode of like, what now? There's a lot of work to do inside, but essentially it's just a big garage. And I know what to do with a garage. It's just a commercial garage, a little bit of a different story. But let me show you what the building looks like, because I own it now, and I can actually show you. So the building was built in 1970, and this is the original. And then they did a little addition. It's a total of 2,600 square feet, brick and cinder block, and there's some office space in the back that eats up some of that 2,600, but you know, pretty nice, simple building, big garage. Let me show you inside.
I think this building should be condemned. There's serious metal fatigue in all the load-bearing members. The wiring is substandard. It's completely inadequate for our power needs, and the neighborhood is like a demilitarized zone.
Now inside here, it is a echo chamber, my friends. So I'm gonna need to do some sound treatments in here just to cut that reverb, because it is brutal. So in this bay, kind of interesting, because we got a brick wall on the inside, and I think that's gonna look pretty darn cool as a background for future presentations and videos. There's a little loft up there, and then back here is a separate space, kind of just a big open area, office space, maybe. I could see it turning into a finishing room or something like that, or just storage. This actually was technically the office. There was a desk here. Yeah, you could see there's definitely some cleanup to do. A little bit of renovation here and there. So that's the door to the main garage area. And there's no shortage of doors in this place, access points. So, you know, for security, we got to keep an eye on that. A little bit of a yard. And then this is a pretty compelling thing going on in here. It's a trip back to the 70s or 80s, but we actually do have a kitchen, which I think if you're spending the day here, it makes it nice and easy, save some money, so you just make your lunch and not have to go out. And then back to the garage space. And I believe it's about a 14-foot ceiling in there. Now, some of the stuff you'll see going forward as we document this, this is the old heater that's in here, just a big old furnace, and heats both of the bays. The two main bays do not have air conditioning, they just have heat. And we do have a standard kind of like residential air conditioning situation back there. So we do have a place to go to get cool, but hopefully we'll be able to get some air conditioning in here sooner than later. Now the lighting in here is pretty good, just in a sense of coverage. There's a decent amount of lights, 3 full strips of fluorescent lights, but we will be replacing those with LEDs at some point in the future. And if you look at the electrical over here, I have a company coming out this week to simplify this mess. There's just a lot going on there, and a lot of this is really old with circuit breakers that are going to be tricky to find. I do look forward to having that just kind of gutted, completely redone in a way that I understand, so that if I need to do some of the electrical work, I can actually do it myself. Now, one question I have, I want to know what the heck is up there. That's where we hide the Cremonas.
Oh!
So I have got a lot of work ahead of me, but before I get into any of this other stuff, I just wanted to say thank you. You guys really came through for me. We had the Firehouse Founders promotion, you know, where we offered what we could, but it was really just asking for support to help us with all of the different things we're going to have to do to make this space worthy of filming and woodworking and all that stuff. You guys really came through for us. I will never forget that, and we will find a way to honor you guys as much as possible, because it was just an amazing outpouring of support. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And with that, I hope to do that justice, to show you exactly where all that money is going, because this week we have the electricians, we have HVAC, we've got roofers coming in to fix the roof. We've got a bug guy coming, because there's bugs everywhere. We're doing some environmental testing here as well. When you buy property, it's a real good idea to know what's going on with the soil, the groundwater, the pipes, the potential for asbestos, lead, all that fun stuff. And this is a pretty old building. A lot's happened here. So it's good to know what you're in for before you get too deep into things. So that's all happening this week and next week. So I will try to document as much as I can, take you guys on the journey with me, but just understand it's really your support that really made all this possible, and I truly appreciate it.
Ugh.
So as I'm doing all my cleaning, there's just things I'm discovering and thinking about things I'm gonna have to change in the future. One of the things is this area with the offices and the bathroom. This is on its separate HVAC system. So there actually is air conditioning in these rooms, but not in the bays. So I wanted to see if the first thing you check anytime you go into a new place is just to see if the furnace filter has been changed in a while. And it's interesting, let me show you. So inside the utility closet, I see this thing that says filter inside here. So there's no access, and there is definitely a port into that wall. So the only thing I can imagine was that it was over here, and this grill was like welded to the wall with paint, which means since it was last painted, this thing has not been changed. And inside here is the furnace filter. So I might even put gloves on before I touch that. I feel like Indiana Jones. It's actually not that bad, all things considered. Another interesting thing I found, so there's a pipe here. This is water. And there's a floor drain, and then it looks like another, a plumbed drain. So I think maybe there was a slop sink here at some point, and now they just have this little hose bib going on there. So I think this is probably a good candidate for a slop sink, which is always a pleasure to have in the shop. Probably positioned here in between, and see if we can't utilize the drain pipe. We'll look into that as well. And it looks like, I'm guessing here, had one of the neighbors stop by, and I saw this cord wrapped around there with a plug on one end. And he said they sometimes do this to prevent the pipe from freezing, and then wrap it with insulation. So this thing's a little bit goofy and a lot of bit scary, but fortunately for me, I'm never gonna really let it freeze in here. So I think we can probably do without that too. You wanna see the cutest thing? The world's tiniest fan, for some reason, right there. So refreshing. Very curious to see what's going on in this loft space. I also don't know why there's always plywood on the walls at the back. I don't know if it's covering something up or there to take like known amounts of damage. Someone backing up really hard, I don't know. I have to take that off and see what's in there. Okay, let's see what's going on up here. Oh, garbage. A bunch of fluorescent lights. Well, there's some stuff. Not very interesting. But this might be a good spot for the new pole.
Wow, this place is great.
So I actually just had a neighbor stop by, and he told me a little bit of trivia. So you see this white area here. You see it's brick on that one. This used to be brick, and apparently someone tried to drive in with the ladder up and knocked it down. And then they just kind of cobbled it together and fixed it with what you see here, but that was, I guess, originally supposed to be brick.
This is exceptionally difficult to do with one hand. Oy. It's a bunch of schmutz up there. It's cool though, you can actually see the outline of the old firehouse signage. Clean that up though.
I got 4 2020s of yellow tire with 2 poles.
All right, so you can see the electrical, at least the initial electrical work is done. The whole idea was just to simplify and consolidate. So now pretty much everything coming in here goes through this trough and then into a new panel, a panel with modern breakers. Now you want to see something interesting. Not only do I have space available down here, which is great because obviously none of my 220 circuits have been run yet. There's a lot of history in this building, and there are a lot of things. I asked the electrician, if you don't know what it is, he traced everything that he could. And some of them just were labeled here historically, but not actually doing anything, or we weren't able to find what they do. So yeah, obviously water heater is fine, but there were a few things labeled heater. Let's see, there's another one here. The meeting heater, there's no heater in there, and there's no heater above it or outside. So some of these just may be, spaces in this box that I'm going to gain back and use for something else. But more investigation is called for. I have to see if I could manually trace these lines back, but either way, I should have plenty of room to do what I need to do. Now, I considered getting rid of this, but this is actually for a generator. And let me show you outside. There's a concrete pad on the other side of this wall where a generator would normally sit. And you can see right there, that's where the generator used to be. So, you know, it's just something that's kind of a future-proofing thing. Now, the other thing happening right now is an environmental test. I just wanted to check for lead, mold, asbestos. We're looking at VOCs. There's actually a little canister that we set up. It sucks in air over 12 hours and will give us an idea of, you know, what kind of VOCs there are in this space. Just to know, I think it's probably better safe than sorry situation. So hopefully we'll get those results back, and that's going to tell us a lot about anything we do from here on out. I mean, if the flooring has asbestos, a lot of times you just kind of put your new flooring right on top, you leave it undisturbed. If you don't have to mess with it, then don't. But if there's stuff in the walls that we need to be aware of, if I want to make any changes, I need to know that that stuff is there so we could do the right thing and just make sure everybody is safe. So probably a few more days before we get those results back. At this point now, it's just a matter of moving things. I'm still trying to track down a company to help me move the bigger tools, but I've got the trailer and I'm using that to just bring as many loads of just the smaller stuff as possible. And I'm starting to just kind of stack everything and be strategic about it because I don't want to be my own worst enemy and put stuff in my way. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so where do we go from here? Well, while I wish I was the kind of person who on day one knew exactly what they wanted to do, where everything's gonna go, I haven't really gotten to that point. I'm probably gonna sketch some stuff on paper, get some approximate ideas for layout and workflow and things like that, and maybe I'll take you through that in the future. But it's gonna be kind of interesting. I see this as being kind of a multi-phase thing. Phase one is just kind of getting the tools in here, getting them set up, getting them powered on, coming up with a temporary mobile dust collection solution, things that allow me to get work done, but not totally committing myself to layouts, to things that will be difficult to change in the future. I think I need to be in this space for a while. This is so much bigger than I'm used to. There's obstacles, there's opportunities all over the place. There's questionable spaces like the lofts over here, what to do with those. I need to exist in this space for a while before I know what to do with it. So phase two would then be, of course, refining everything. Once I know the layout that I want and I kind of see how to optimize it, then I could do more things that have permanency to them, things that would be difficult to change if I change my mind in the future. Yeah, I'll just keep doing the vlogs. If you guys are into it, I'll show you everything that we're doing, and as we get back into regular project videos, you're going to see a pretty interesting mix of things, from house projects to personal projects to projects for the shop, all kinds of cool stuff. So that's what's coming up. So hope you guys are here for it. And this is something that's taken some getting used to. Just random people coming into the parking lot. Not just to say hi, but to turn around. Now here's something fun. This is the water filter. And this thing had a date of 2011 for its last change. I'd say it's catching some sediment. Look good.